Hey, what's up with it, guys? So I just want to talk to you today about my experience with steroids from when I was a kid. I was 98 pounds, super small, super little, right? Went out for the football team and they said I was too small. And so they let me ride the bench the whole season. So after that season, I started reading the magazines, how Arnold got swole, how Lee Haney got buff. And I saw that you had to eat a lot of calories. And I never liked eating food, period. So I started force feeding myself. And so I gained 40 pounds in 90 days. Came back this summer, double days in football, and became a superstar just overnight. I didn't play pop water. I played a little basketball in junior high, but I didn't like it. And so my first true year of playing football was my 10th grade year, sophomore year. And I got the MVP, getting recruited by a lot of colleges around the whole country. And, I just turned myself into a beast. I was born beast, but I had to learn how to play the politics, shall you say. And I trained like an animal. So at that point, my friends around the neighborhood started calling me Ben Johnson. For those who don't know who Ben Johnson was, he was swole, buff, and he beat Carl Lewis in a 100-yard dash at the Olympics. Carl Lewis cried and said he was on steroids. And so that was my first inclination or ever hearing about steroids. And then from there, it progressed into baseball, Canseco and McGuire and all those guys, And so, boom, I go to college. I was on the team, on the football team, Fresno State football team, but I did have to prop 38, as they called it. My SAT scored sucked. Even though I graduated with 3.83 overall GPA, academic and athletic scholarship, my SAT score sucked, so I had to prop 48. Prop 48. That means that you basically on the team, but you like a red shirt. You're able to practice and all that. And so for layman's term, I had to sit out my first year, my freshman year, and learn plays and the team and all that. So anyway, my fraternity brothers, I got wind that some of them was on steroids. And this was the first time I was involved with people that was on steroids. I was already strong. I was benching about 425 natural. I didn't know about nothing. I was green, right? So I remember my fraternity brothers, they would actually come work out with me. And so they was lifting the same thing I was lifting. And I'm like, they supposed to be on steroids? Or what I need steroids for, right? And so I was an advocate against it. I used to talk bad about steroids because I was lifting the same thing as the guys that were on it. So boom, fast forward to prison. Once again, I was the biggest on the yard. All the California prison I went to, I was the swollest guy. Correctional officers used to ask me how to work out. I even remember the correctional officer, Idris Wardell, worked at San Quentin, and me and him was the same size, and he was on the streets doing steroids. He competed in pro bodybuilding shows. And so I had no desire. Only time I heard, and I said this in my documentary, only time I heard of somebody taking steroids was at Tehachapi. And Jack, young white dude, was getting D-ball, whatever. And, I was bigger than him. I was more cut, ripped, stronger, way stronger than him. I'm like, what the hell I need steroids for if I'm the biggest, So I had no desire for it. So fast forward once again, I get out of prison 2001, working out and get back in trouble, go back to prison after about 11 months out after doing 7 years. And so I go back several times to prison. And so finally, I get a little stint in 2007, I want to say. And I had a buddy of mine come up to me and he was like, man, if you get on a little juice, you'll kill him in bodybuilding shows. And I didn't even know what bodybuilding shows were. And he was doing them. My mind started working, whatever. And by 2008, I went to a bodybuilding show, seen Jay Cutler, and I thought I was swole, and he made me look little. And so right then, I got sparked. And I went to my buddy, I was like, man, what I got to do to get bigger and compete? And he told me, and he showed me how to do everything for our steroids. I never forget, my first cycle was Sustanon, and it hurted, man. I was like, what did I do? I didn't like it, right? I mean, I was swolled up and, oh, man. So anyway, so that started in like 2 weeks. My strength went up like 20 pounds on a bench. My strength went up first. That was the first thing I noticed. And so, I liked it. I liked the progress. I liked the strength that was coming. Then the size started coming in. Just everybody started taking notice. So after I seen Jay Cutler, he made me look small. 9 months later, I did the Orange County Classic. In 2009, I won heavyweight, and I went on to do 5 additional shows. After 4 additional shows are dead. So I did 5 shows my first year in 2009. All of them I took first and won some overalls, and I took second at one of them. No, I took third at one of them, and that kind of broke my spirit a little bit, but I wanted to beat the guys that beat me. So I just kept on. I was hypersensitive to steroids back then, taking 500 milligrams per week of testosterone. When I was competing, I was scared of trend, so I kept it under testosterone. I was taking 400 mgs a week of that. I was also doing Anadrol, D-ball, and this is my first year, 2009. Then, of course, to get ready for shows, I would take clenbuterol, T3 cytomel, take Winstrol, Tren 8, you know, all the stuff. I was reading. I had books, and I was on the internet for hours a day because I didn't want to kill myself. So I studied at least 6-8 hours a day about nutrition and mostly steroids. I had all the books, Llewellyn steroid books, you name it. I had them all, and I read them page for page. And so I did well. My first year, I won, like I say, 4 of the shows. I took third at one, went to USA, and I took 10th as a light heavyweight. You know, I felt I had something that I was good at. So I kept progressing, kept studying. If I could turn back the hands of time, I would have got a coach. You know, I would have got a Hani Ramba, George Farah. If I know what I know now, I would have invested some money in having one of them to really learn what I was doing. But Hani Ramba was, of course, my favorite, and George Farah. So my experience starting off was good. You know, I became this monster, and you know, I thought I was doing things right. I would take off 3-4 months out of a year, and when you look back at my old YouTube videos, you can see I always would get smaller and bigger, and people would always comment, and that was cycling on, cycling off, and I thought I was doing everything right, and I still feel I was doing everything right, but what hurt me was eating bad food all my teenage years into adult years while I was in prison. And you guys got to remember, I did 11 years in prison total. So I was eating top ramen, 4 or 5 top ramens a day with the sodium. I didn't even know about sodium. I didn't learn about sodium until I started competing in bodybuilding in 2009. And when I started competing in bodybuilding, my first shot of testosterone, I was 34 years old. I didn't know about steroids until I was 34. And I thought I was a late bloomer, so that would help me. But I'll never forget my first year, my first few shows, my lower extremities was retaining water. And that was a sign right there. I already had a clogged heart condition. And I knew something was terribly wrong even in 2009, you know, and I would go to the doctor. They would tell me my blood pressure was up and things of that nature. But I ignored it because the reason I used to ignore it, because the thing you put around your arm, the blood pressure machine, it would never fit. Then they was using an electrical one, and so I always had the excuse. But even, like I say, my first show, my calves wouldn't get super hard and grainy, and my feet would be a little puffy. So I was always concerned, man. And, you know, of course, you know, kept doing the steroids. I thought I was doing a low amount that wouldn't harm me. But like I say, on top of that, all the white rice and top ramen, it was already cloggage happening. So my experience overall was good. You know, I became this guy on the internet, big, swole, strong, able to do muscle ups, and, you know, could have went pro in bodybuilding if I wanted to push it, but I decided not to push it. It wasn't financially worth it or worth my health. What I recommend to you guys, especially the youngsters that's watching or anybody that's watching, if your testosterone level not lower than a 600, don't even touch it, man. There's no need. You know what I mean? And youngsters out there, if you go do it, wait till you get later on in years, because you're going to have an advantage in your 30s where you already built a good foundation, you swole. Then, you know, if you choose to do it, you're a grown adult. Bro, if you under 30, I'm like, you kind of setting yourself up for failure, especially with kids. And that's another thing. In 2018, I went to a fertility clinic, and I found out my sperm was 0. I had 0 sperm, man, and it crushed me, you know, and I prayed to God that I could get it back to have kids, because I'm with my, you know, girlfriend at the time. She my wife now, had my beautiful twin, and fortunately I went to a fertility clinic in Las Vegas, and Eva Littman. That's the doctor's name. And she brought me back, man. She put me on HCG, and I was taking a little HMG on the side. Y'all could Google that. That's to bring your sperm back up. But she prescribed me HCG and Clomid. And so I took it about 7-8 months straight, got off all steroids. That's why you go back to my YouTube videos and see I was like 198 back then, you know what I mean? And I was off everything. I was barely working out. I was doing a lot of gaming. And she brought me back, man. She brought me back to the point where I was able to extract some sperm and implant them in my wife and have kids. And so that's how I have my twins today. God bless me, man. Because like I say, that's the down part of steroids and anabolics and performance enhancer, PEDs, or whatever you want to call it, juice. That's the negative part. It will shut down your sperm and your natural testosterone, and you'll become dependent on it. Like for me, the past few years, I've been off everything, and I went and got my blood test. My testosterone was actually high. It was 532, and for a man of my age and wasn't eating red meat and eggs or nothing like that, that was good, you know. So yeah, so my experience ultimately was great. The reason I had stopped is because I thought that the steroids was the cause of my heart attack. But overall, I have friends, man, that died in their early 40s. They never touched steroids. They just ate bad food, drank, and smoked weed. And you know, so I'm not against it. Let's just say that I was while I was on my fruitarian journey and my cleansing journey. Yeah, I didn't want nothing that's made in a lab in my body. It does save lives. So, you know, if you're an older man with a low libido, low energy, it's your testosterone level. If you're a woman with a low libido and things happening, your hormones are off. So, like I say, my experience was great. And, you know, I'm not opposed to it. If you need TRT, it's actually a blessing, man. You know, it's a great thing that God allowed us to be creative and to do things to save our life or elongate our life, you know. But once again, I'm against kids taking it. That's why I never talked about it when I was, you know, big as I was and people made up, I said I was natty and all. Bro, you know, I don't know where people made that up at, but never in my career did I tell anybody I was natty. I trolled about it and, you know, but never, I don't play with people like that. I would have never played with you guys like that into saying I'm natty. Where people got that from was that documentary when I said, what I need D-ball for? And everybody ran with it. Oh, he said he natty. No, at that point in my life, you know, I hadn't been out of prison long. I wasn't going to incriminate myself and say I was on drugs on the internet to go to jail or something. Like, you know, it's just, that's where I come from. That's called ratting on yourself. You rat on yourself, you definitely a idiot, you know. So yeah, man. So that's my experience with it. That's when it started. That was my outlook on it. Like I say, if you have a low testosterone, if you're older, you want to look into it, man. You want to go to a wellness clinic and check out your testosterone. Everybody in my program, I have them go get tested so we know what their testosterone level is and their blood type, because it will give you a better quality of life. Your testosterone at a decent level, you will have a better quality of life. Hope this video explains some things to you guys that a lot of people make up things like I said or whatever. And, you know, I'm here being transparent and open and truthful, and I hope you guys can learn something from it and take from it. And like I say, if you under 30, bro, don't listen to none of these youngsters that's on it, and you go ruin your life. And it's not necessary. You know, as long as you eating healthy, good healthy food, or no process, not putting it in the microwave, drinking your fluids, staying hydrated, your testosterone level go be up. You know, a lot of us ruining our testosterone with the microwave, with weed, with alcohol, you know, all that type of stuff. Processed food. Like, you gotta, as long as you cut all that out and eat healthy, top grade food, your testosterone will be up. Unless you have some type of medical condition from birth or hereditary or genetic, you know. But yeah, just eat healthy and be healthy and you go feel good, man. And you know, there are some phenoms out there that never have to touch the stuff, you know, don't have a desire to, we just want to be healthy and wealthy. And you know, it's ultimately the key, man. But for all you out there, guys out there that's considering it, wait till you in your 30s at least, man. Have you some kids and, learn your body, That's why I take pride in myself. Even though I started at 34, and I thought I knew my body, but at that point, I'm still learning my body, right? So you just don't want to prematurely start a drug that you get addicted to at a young age. So much love to everybody. Hey, if y'all need my help with coaching, with fitness, go to kalimuscle.com and I will help you, man. My program is the least expensive program I've seen on social media, and I'm doing the most. So everything in my program is hands-on with me. I do everything, 100%. Call you up, DM you on IG, do Zoom calls, do your workout plan, your food plan, all that good stuff, man. So, man, many blessings to you guys. And like I say, always get a coach. There's no reason for you to go through trial and error in this day and time, man. So much love. Hit me up. Love you.